Hello and welcome to News 9. I'm Varghese Abraham. First up, let us in fact take a look at a very pressing issue. We all have experienced flight delays at least once when we go to the airport. But passengers at the international airport in Kolkata are facing never before heard kind of a delay in baggage claim. The story has been published in the Telegraph newspaper. Now, according to the newspaper, passengers commuting from the Kolkata airport have been complaining of having to wait unusually long hours to have their baggage back. They say that a wait time of 45 to 60 minutes has now become common in the luggage to arrive at the baggage carousel. Now, passengers say this delay is irrespective of the time of their arrival. Even if the flights land at odd hours, there is a long way to get the luggage back. Officials from several airlines have raised the issue with the airport authorities in Kolkata. Airport authorities have given several reasons which are causing the delay. Now, the foremost reason is the increase in the number of aircraft that the airport is handling now. As per officials, the number of aircrafts handled by the airport have almost doubled between 2015 and 2023. In 2015, around 100 flights landed in a day at Kolkata. The number as of December 19, it is said to be around 191. That is from 100 to 191. Even though the flight number has doubled since 2015, the number of aero bridges still stands at 18, which is the same as in 2015. Now, this leads to more flights being made to land at remote stands, making a long journey from the stand to the conveyor belt. Another reason for the delay is that the tractor trolleys carrying the luggage have a speed limit. These trolleys cannot be operated at speed of more than 15 kilometers per hour because of the safety rules that are in place. With new stands made at remote locations, the distance the tractor trolleys have to travel is around 3 kilometers. And then think about the speed it has to go in. And with the speed of the trolleys limited, the time for the luggage to arrive is bound to increase. Now, the story in Telegraph quotes an airport official who says that there have been no formal complaints from passengers about the delay, and if and when they get a complaint, then it would be addressed. Is it lack of planning or lack of support to build infrastructure that is leading to this? What is causing this problem and what are the possible solutions? Let us in fact get a first-hand account also from the ground on this as my colleague gives you an insight about this problem.
कलकत्ता हवाई अड्डे पे यात्रियों के लगेज लेने के लिए 30 से 35 मिनट तक अपेक्षाएं करना पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि विमान उतरने का बाद वो लगेज ट्रॉली में आती है और वो ट्रॉली बेसमेंट में जाती है। उसके बाद ग्राउंड स्टाफ द्वारा वो ट्रॉली कैरोजेल बेल्ट में चला दिया जाता है और दिन पे दिन जैसे कि विमान बढ़ रही है, विमान की संख्या बढ़ रही है, उसी हिसाब से विमान का यात्री बढ़ रहा है, मगर स्टाफ नहीं बढ़े। इसीलिए वो इस स्टाफ से काम कर रहा है कलकत्ता एयरपोर्ट। और बेसरकारी विमान संस्था ने जो बताया है, जो स्टाफ के लिए थोड़ी बहुत देर हो रहे हैं, इसीलिए यात्रियों के बेल्ट का ऊपर अपेक्षाएं करना पड़ रहा है।
Well, to discuss more on this, we are joined by a panel of guests. Jitendra Bhargava, author and former Executive Director, Air India, is joining us. Captain S.S. Panesar, ex-Director, Flight and Safety, Indian Airlines, also joins us. Professor Bijon Mishra, Consumer Expert, also joins us. And Vipul Saxena, Aviation Expert, is also joining us in this discussion. So, let us in fact start off with Jitendra Bhargava, who's author and former Executive Director, Air India. So, Mr. Jitendra Bhargava, the question that is there is that, can you just take us through why is it that there is a particular delay at the Kolkata airport? If you think, because you've been part of the operations of the airport and managing an airline, why do you think there could be a possible delay at Kolkata airport now? And what is the actual procedure? What is the time that we actually see on an average scale when you're supposed to get your baggage claim carried forward. So can you just explain the process, and then also what could be the actual problem at the Kolkata airport?
See, there are stipulated norms as to when would the first bag arrive on the conveyor belt and the last bag, and this is monitored.
Okay.
So question is, are we talking of the first bag or are we talking of the last bag that are coming in? Of the passengers, maybe the ones who got the bag in the end, they may be talking about it, and therefore it takes about 25-30 minutes, that one part. And these data are monitored by the Airport Authority of India. So anyone to say that, look, they haven't got a complaint from a passenger, but even if the airlines have complained of systemic delays, airport authority is obliged to take corrective measure. Now, there are certain kind of problems that airports go through, and you have very rightly pointed out that the air traffic in Kolkata has doubled. Now, the question to be asked is, has the staff been increased? It takes unduly long in government sector for them to get into the process of recruitment and training people to handle the bag. That's one part. Then there are, you made a reference to the aero bridges, and when there is an aircraft which is parked at a remote bay, it takes long for the trolleys to come and bring the baggage to the terminal building. And it is not just the simple speed and the distance that matters. At times what happens is when the trolleys are moving, there could be an aircraft which is taxiing for takeoff or for getting onto an aero bridge. So this traffic, this movement of trolleys are suspended for that time being. So it could be a time. So one needs to look at whether it's become a matter of routine. It is happening every day. Or was it just on a certain specific day, certain specific time when the air traffic is at its peak? So one will have to get into the details thing, but I'm glad that it's been pointed out. An Airport Authority of India, Kolkata office must address these issues, because when a passenger he's already got a long time, he's left home for the airport, waited at the airport for the flight to take off, then he's on a flight, then he's taken the flight timing and landing, and then it takes on. So if the experience is not happy about it, they are bound to crib, and they must necessarily raise objections as to why is the baggage being delayed. That's my view on it.
Well, we also have Captain S.S. Panisar, who's ex-director Flight and Safety, Indian Airlines, who joins us as well. Panisar, sir, one of the things that we have in fact seen is that, you know, this delay when it comes, the big question that they ask is that the passenger would ask why. Then I have seen it also personally in certain airports as well, that where there is no answer to a lot of questions. Like they say, we are waiting, we are monitoring, and they say, why don't you go to our desk? This is how it goes, and you know, it keeps going on. And there have been times when the conveyor belts have also been changing from they announce one, they go to another. But when it comes to specificity, what do you think is the average time that could be given for the baggage claim at first? And what should be that time? Because let's keep it open. And if it is more than that, then how can this delay be addressed?
Well, at the outset, let me tell you that I don't agree with the comments given by the Airport Authority of India. 191 flights do not land at one time. Their flights are landing 2 flights, 3 flights, 4 flights maximum. Look at Air India. By the time the passenger reaches the belt, the baggage is already reached there. How they are operating it? And they say there's nobody complained. Whenever somebody wants to complain, they say give it in writing. You must say the passenger start writing complaints at that time. They don't have a proper staff to look after the baggage control. There are airlines. They want to save money. They are not employed right type of people. They are probably not given the proper training. The baggage can come as early as within 20 minutes. There is no excuse. The 191 flights, they are not landing at one time. 191 flights landing at one time? No. You look at Bombay, you look at Delhi, you look at other airports. The baggage comes very fast. By the time passenger in the baggage area, his baggage is already rolling on the belt. The only thing is they need training and there's somebody to monitor there. I don't find any staff from Airport Authority who is monitoring whether baggage is coming on time or not. Why they don't have a staff to look after this? You see, the passenger who has paid the money for the safe travel, he comes here, he wants to meet his destination relation. They are waiting outside, they are paying money for the parking and waiting. They want the baggage to come faster. I've seen Air India Alliance here, the baggage used to be there by the time passengers near the belt, because they want to save money. They don't have trained staff. They have nobody to look after the passengers' interests. And if anybody complains, okay, give it in writing. We will say he should give it. Why the regulatory body is not monitoring all this? They have given the operators license. They should come and watch how the baggages are being handled. If there's a shortage of belts, they should increase the number of belts. I don't think the increase of number of belts is required because all flights are not landing at the same time. These are the wrong excuses given to satisfy the people on the TV. I'm
Right.
sorry to say the airport authority is not competent people.
Right.
They should
Right.
have a staff monitoring there, satisfying the passenger.
Right. In fact,
Passenger
let
would
me
love to
right.
appreciate all that.
Right. Let me get in Vipul Saxena, who's an aviation expert as well, and then I will go to our consumer expert in this discussion. Vipul Saxena, now, when we talk about how, there is a growth in the market when it comes to the aviation sector in this country. We have known that the footfalls have been increasing. Most of the terminals, traditional airports have increased their terminal space and other things. But there is this question asked as to whether it's an infrastructure problem. Interestingly enough, when it comes to Kolkata, the terminal still has only 18 aerobridges. They have a new terminal that it still has only 18 aerobridges. But they have increased their capacity when it comes to remote remote lots where the aircraft are parked. Is it big, which is easier, because it is easier to in fact gain more ground, tar the place, make it easier for the aircraft to park itself rather than building a terminal. So is that infrastructure cost technically reducing the building and increasing the tarred platform across the airport, which means there is a distance increasing from the parked lot of the aircraft towards the terminal, which has resulted in this, and that is what a lot of airlines are looking at. Because interestingly, this particular article points to something also. It says that some of these airlines also prefer this because it's easy to board and deboard, because both the gates of the plane are open and they'll be able to get. So they have to just ferry the person from the terminal to the aircraft in the bus. But then you have the other issues that are there, how the baggage delivery does not meet with the transport of the passengers themselves. So when it comes to transit and other things, these are actually very big issues. So is it an infrastructure thinking problem? Because it's easy to spend a little money and get more capacity for the aircraft by increasing the parking lots than to have more terminals and then have the aerobridges installed. Am I thinking wrong, or is there some way of trying to understand this infrastructure problem? Is there an infrastructure problem?
Yeah, I think you're on spot. But before that, I would agree with Captain Panesar that Air India and there are certain airlines who ensure that by the time passenger reaches the conveyor belt, which takes about 20 minutes to 25 minutes, the baggage is already there. And many a time it happens that you rather reach later than the baggage already arrived. So the problem has three fold aspect which needs to be looked into. One is that when they plan for increasing traffic, they also must study about the infrastructure additional needs, number one. Second thing, we also cannot have too many tractors, too many manpower floating around on the airport. So it has to be a combination of the aerobridge and the how much infrastructure, how much tractors, how much manpower we can increase. And somewhere, third point, which Captain Bhargav and Captain Panesar said, that efficiency of the people, the training of the people is very, very poor, especially at Kolkata airport. I think these three aspects needs to be looked into. And so somewhere, self-regulation by the airport also must be done, that they must do some kind of time and motion study to see at least some sample survey whether how much average time it is taking to get the the baggage on the belt. Number one. Second thing, somewhere the way DGCA has regulated for the airlines, for the aircraft to have on-time performance. So why can't they have on-time performance about even baggage arrival? So I think these are the aspects which, if looked into, I think there's a solution available.
Yes, we'll slip into a short break now. On the other side, we will go to Professor Bijon Mishra, who is a consumer expert, and to look from a consumer's angle at what can be the remedy other than just going ahead and making a complaint. Is there more that they can do? That's on the other side.
हमारी नारी शक्ति को सशक्त करने से ही देश सशक्त होने वाला है।
हर महीने महिलाओं को 1500 रुपए प्रति माह दिलवाया जाएगा।
What Nitish Kumar did to provide cycle to girls, so they could safely, quickly move out of the house, go to school, and quickly come back. Ching, 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 ching.
माँ अन्नपूर्णा तू ही, माँ अन्नपूर्णा है तू ही वीणा वादनी, हे शक्ति स्वरूपा जगदम्बा, हे नारी तू नारायणी।
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Well, we also have Professor Bijon Mishra, who in fact joins us. Professor, what is the remedy for the consumer when it comes to delay in claiming the baggage? One of the things, of course, is for those who are looking for business to arrive, time is money for them, and if they say that it is getting delayed unduly, then one thing is they can approach the airport authorities on this. But if it is a regular problem and if there seems to be no end to it, is it possible in a remote sense that they can actually approach the court on this?
See, I will sum it up in 3 words.
All right.
Lack of accountability.
All right.
Of transparency. And lack of planning. You see, we as passengers, we pay quite a heavy amount for as landing charges.
Okay.
Tickets are very highly costed and we all pay for it. Where does this money go? We don't know. How does it get used? We don't know. The elected members of the parliament, they don't have time to ask these questions. So the most important issue is we have to bring in a lot of accountability in the system. We can keep defending ourselves like my eminent panel members did. We can give a lot of defense to protect ourselves from such delays. But the bottom line is we have to make the system accountable to the passengers, which is totally lacking in the Kolkata airport especially. But it is all around the country, let me tell you that. Transparency, like one of my panel members said, that we bring on time. Please display that. Please display your performance transparently to the passengers, that which airline is taking how much time to reach the baggage. I have seen, I have monitored it myself on behalf of the passengers, that they will put one bag on the baggage belt and show that time as baggage on the belt. Only one bag they will put.
Okay.
The bulk of the bag will come much later.
All right.
See, my question is that there is total lack of transparency, accountability, and there is no planning. When you know that you are giving licenses to the aircrafts to land at that airport, you know jolly well from much before what is the facility you require to give that license for the airlines to land. And when you are collecting money from the passengers to give them that facility, and you are not making yourself accountable, then somebody's head should roll. Why are there not enough aero bridges? Why are there not enough facilities in terms of manpower, in terms of technological use, in terms of upgradation of the airports? You go to all over the world and you see what's happening there. And you can understand with such a small, limited manpower, they're working so efficiently. I have seen people just standing there at the airport, chatting away on the telephone, glory, employed, but not accountable. Nobody bothers. Once you get a job, nobody bothers whether you're working or not working. The salary is getting paid, but the passengers are crying. Nobody wants to look at them. They want complaints to be given. What rubbish. There should be staff who should be standing near all the bed, giving up-to-date information to the passengers in terms of when the baggage will arrive and how long it will take. It's rubbish to say we don't get complaints. Why will people complain? What for? When you don't even want to listen to him. You don't have even a designated person standing there to guide the passengers. This is a total lack of apathy towards the passengers, no sensitivity towards the passengers. The whole country is moving with the money of the passengers. The aviation industry is growing because of the passengers, but the passengers are least looked after.
So you're saying the passengers are least looked after. I'll take this question to Jitendra Bhargava. You heard what our consumer expert had to say on this, and interestingly enough, I just want you to just demystify to us as to how this baggage handling is carried out. I mean, how much is within the airport authority, the organization that's running the airport, how much is with the airlines, and who we can actually find, fix that accountability on. So that for that, I think we should understand how the baggage is brought to that conveyor belt. Could you just demystify this for us?
Very good question. Very good question. You see, we were unfairly blaming the airport authority, Kolkata. The reality is that airlines have the option of self-handling baggages through their own staff or through a contracted company.
Okay.
Now, a passenger is conscious of the fact that which airline has a good reputation for delivering baggages on time and which airline delays it. So it is left entirely to the passenger to decide that I must fly this airline and ignore this airline knowing of the performance. As I said earlier, DGCA has stipulated norms for the baggage delivery. Now, a review meeting can be taken by the airlines, check with where are the kind of bottlenecks that exist in certain airlines. It can't be across all airlines, let me make it very clear. There are airlines which will operate and get the delivered baggage in time because they are conscious of it. And that is why I said in the beginning, we need to look at 191 flights. Laying unnecessary emphasis on only 18 aero bridges, let me state it in unequivocal terms that 18 aero bridges for Kolkata airport to handle 191 flights over a 24-hour period are good enough. But what happens in reality is at times airlines opt for remote bay parking. Why do they do it? Because they don't have the use of that same aircraft for a prolonged period for the next flight. So they can't be blocking an aero bridge and they move it to the remote bay, and then the cycle of all these problems of shifting baggage takes place because the distance between an aero bridge and the terminal building is so short that you can deliver the baggage on time. But when it is remote bay, then it takes time. And the manpower training is yes. And I would take objection to Mr. Mishra's statement of lack of transparency. When a passenger pays his fare,
but I just wanted to know, sorry if I could interject over there. I just want to know, when I give the baggage, it's taken by the airline, that is, I've taken a ticket from.
It remains in the custody of the airline.
So this entire thing...
staff gets on it, it gets onto the x-ray machine, the baggage is x-ray before put on the board. Their staff puts it on a flight, the baggage tag is very much there. Goes on to a particular aircraft. And likewise, when a plane lands, it's handled by the staff. You must have noticed from the windows while you're waiting to deplane from the aircraft, the staff of an airline is very much there offloading the baggages. Then it moves to the airport. It's a question of airport authority comes in of ensuring that the conveyor belts are functional. It's indicated, and as one very rightly said, there are occasions when you announce on a flight that your baggage will be delivered on belt number 3, but when you reach belt number 3, sudden change. But these are operational issues which are not common, which are rare in my opinion, so we shouldn't be bothering too much about it. But this 45-minute, 30 to 45-minute baggage time is indeed much more than what is stipulated. And I'm sure the airlines will hire more staff. If they're operating those services, they can't make an excuse.
So, Jitendra Bhargava, what is the optimum time? What is the optimum time that a passenger should wait for his baggage?
You see, let's put this way. If it is on an aero bridge, the first bag must be there in 10 minutes time.
10 minutes.
But when it's on a remote bay, it can take up to 20 minutes. And as I said earlier, that there are movements on the aircraft, on the airstrip. there could be occasion when a plane is taxiing in or taxiing out, and therefore the movement of trolleys has been held up. So if the passengers were complaining that it took me 45 minutes to get my baggage, then it could perhaps been in this case. But this is where I said, if it's a daily occurrence, it's time to make a wake-up call and make the airlines realize that this is something that cannot be tolerated by passengers.
Well, okay, thank you. In fact, we'll have to move into a small break now. We'll come back to it. We have a reaction that is awaited from Captain S.S. Panesar. You want to speak? That is after the break.
The scale of the attack was something that we were surprised at. David Hadley was a double agent. The Americans did not want him to be fully exposed, so all that he probably shared with the Americans was not shared with us in terms of intelligence. If we had that, I'm sure that we would have been able to deal with the situation far better.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Bangalore traffic is an example of something that has gone wrong with our system.
We have more than 50 flyovers in Bangalore city. If flyover is a solution to traffic problem, Bangalore should not have traffic problem.
According to TomTom Traffic Index 2022, Bangalore is ranked as the second worst city in the world when it comes to traffic.
The speed limit at the ORR is 80 kilometers per hour, but our vehicle has only moved 10 kilometers per hour.
What Bangalore needs is a surgery, but what we have been offered repeatedly are band-aids.
Only on the world's first news OTT. News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Since the last 2 years, Khalistani terror groups are threatening Indian diplomats in Canada, US, UK and Australia. Investigations of these threats led us to the first ever abduction and killing of an Indian diplomat, Ravindra Matre, in UK's Birmingham in 1984. Our months-long investigation finally led us to the murderer of Ravindra Matre, who has been hiding in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir for the last 40 years. Watch our exclusive documentary, Murder of an Indian Diplomat, where we reveal the man who killed Ravindra Matre.
Stop searching, start streaming. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back. Before going into the break, we were seeing how the baggage was in fact managed, and we understand that more than the airport authorities, it is for the airlines to ensure that they handle the baggage and get it to the conveyor belt on time so that the passenger is able to get. Now, if it's an aero bridge, within 10 minutes it should be there. If it's in a remote bay, within 20 minutes, your first baggage should be out there. Now, just we were moving into this particular aspect of understanding it, and then we were talking about how difficult it's become, especially in Kolkata airport, when it comes to the issue of claiming your baggage. That is, after you land, some people say that it's between 45 to 50 minutes when they get their baggage, and it is a big delay that they are facing over there. Captain S.S. Panesar, ex-director Flight and Safety of Indian Airlines, is also joining us. And Captain, you wanted to say something with regard to this. You were giving a reaction on this aspect of it, that who is supposed to take blame. Now, over here we know the accountability is there on the airlines part of it, but not much on the part of the airport, because their job is to ensure that the conveyor belts are functioning. So the entire baggage handling is being carried out by them. And what is your views on it? You were in fact trying to raise a point on this.
See, the responsibility lies with the airline and the airport authority for the management.
All right.
And how to improve the system is the question now. The question is, you should have an officer near the belts who can take the verbal complaint. Don't expect the passengers to write a complaint and send it to you for your waste paper basket. The person, duty officer near the belt, should note down the complaint, take an action. And they should have walkie-talkie with the man who is bringing the baggage on the trolley and inside, so that they know the exact position where the baggage has reached to satisfy the passenger. The idea is to improve the system by writing complaints, and then you see in Calcutta the problem with the staff is lunchtime, dinner time, morning tea time. Do they have staff? And they would love to go for lunch and dinner. They don't care for the passenger baggage. So they should have a standby staff that when few people have gone for the lunch, of course they have to have a lunch, you have the other staff to take care of the passenger's baggage. These are the minor problems which can be improved. The only thing, you have to take an interest to improve the system. System can be improved, passengers can be satisfied. Don't expect people to write there, some ladies with children and all that. You want them to write a complaint? Let them complain to an officer near the belt, and he should take an action. He should write a complaint himself, and he should take an action with the help of the management. Well, this is my personal suggestion to improve the system.
Then if the entire handling is by the airlines itself, if the entire handling of the baggage is by the airline, and probably what I understand is that the conveyor belts are the only thing that is made sure, and which conveyor belt to take to, and the kind of, the support infrastructure that is given is only on the part of the airport. So it looks like a lot of onus is on the airlines, isn't it? Or am I reading it wrong?
Sir, most of the airlines, when the pilot is landing, after landing, the cabin crew immediately announces with the help of the staff when they open the door of the aircraft that your baggage will be on belt number 4, 5 or 6. There should be no confusion. Why don't they do that? I have landed many times in Delhi, many airports in Delhi. They immediately announce, all passengers know your baggage will be on the belt number 3. You see, this is the idea to improve the system. Why can't we improve the system? We have people to look after passengers. Don't expect the airport authority to. We haven't got any complaint.
I understand that part of redressal is in fact not working. Let's in fact also get in Vipul Saxena, our aviation expert, into this. Vipul Saxena, we were talking about how this infrastructure is being built. Now, I think we are having kind of a backlog development. What I was trying to say is that, suddenly there is an increase in volume of your passengers, and then you have to have a quick fix solution. So did Kolkata airport actually go for this quick fix solution by having these remote bays rather than concentrating on building more terminals or having different terminals at different locations also? You can spread it across so that the planes are attached to these terminals and it's easy. Like I understand from our expert that if it's an aero bridge, you're attached to the terminal and within 10 minutes you'll get your baggage. Instead of that, the easy way out is to spread it across and then gain more ground and then have remote base into which you have these aircraft parked. Do you think this could also be one of those delay factors, one? And the second part of it that I wanted to in fact concentrate on, when it comes to planning, especially a airport like Kolkata, 191 flights, it is one of the most important aerial hubs when it comes to the northeastern region as well. It is a place where we find connections towards Southeast Asia, South Asia, Bangladesh, a lot of flights to Bangladesh, and then you have towards West Asia as well. So it is a very important metropolis airport, and probably delay in baggage must be a small problem, but it could reflect on a larger effort to in fact see whether it can become the transitional hub for a lot of passengers. transitional hub for probably the whole of the Northeast region and also for Southeast Asia as well as towards West Asia. So when we are looking at probably attracting that kind of a passenger footfall and probably talking about the growth story, is Kolkata airport at the moment very short, and probably this passenger baggage delay is only reflective of some of the problems that are there just coming out to the open and potentially scuttling its further growth?
Yeah, I think you raised a very valid point about the operation in the Southeast Asian countries. And Kolkata with the time is really going to be kind of a hub for these countries. So the transit time available from changing the aircraft by the passenger from domestic aircraft to the international flight, unless it is the same flight going to the final destination, this movement is very, very important, very, very critical. So I think the quick fix solution I foresee is better planning and better coordination of the aero bridge, the parking bay, and the belt. I think there needs to be some good coordination between the air traffic controller, or we can say airport authority, and with the airlines. So I think if the coordination can be improved, I think a lot of problem can be sorted out with that. Coming to the number of aero bridges and number of remote bays, I think that's a question of how much investment is available, how much investment that airport is allocated for. So I won't be able to go into those details because that's a completely financial aspect. Because they also have to see that this infrastructure will be handling how much passengers and how much aircraft and what is the kind of revenue is going to be generated. So that's a major point which needs to be discussed in detail. But yes, as a quick solution available is better coordination, better performance, and as Captain Parasa said, that the cultural issue in Calcutta being in West Bengal, and mostly people are very, very lackluster. So what I have seen mostly is, even if one of the best officers at the airport in charge, instead of, he does not have the liberty to improve that culture. Rather, he gets into that culture and he becomes one of them kind. And I think that needs some kind of initiative, some kind of persuasion to improve that culture, either by adding some more manpower or even by training or some kind of motivation, so that the performance of the people improves, and accordingly the delivery will automatically improve. So I think first thing is coordination, and second thing is cultural issues. If this can be sorted out, which is within their control, I think that can sort out most of the problems.
All right. In fact, we try to get in touch with the authorities there, trying to get an answer as to what could be the reason why this delay is happening. My colleague was on the ground and tried to speak to them. Let's listen in.
कलकत्ता हवाई अड्डे पे यात्रियों के लगेज लेने के लिए अपेक्षाएं करना पड़ रहा है 30 से 35 मिनट। इसका कारण जानने के लिए न्यूज़ 9 की तरफ से एक मेल भेजा था और 21 तारीख को वो मेल रात 9:59 पे भेजा गया था एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी को, और उसका कारण जानने के लिए पूछा गया था। अभी तक उसका कारण कुछ भी नहीं मिला, और न्यूज़ 9 के ओर से ये मेल देके इसका कारण दर्शाने के लिए और क्या एक्शन ले रहे इसका जानने के लिए बार बार 2 बार मेल भेजा गया था अपना तरफ से। अभी तक उसका कोई जवाब नहीं मिला।
So there is no reference that we are getting in when it comes to where the delay is happening. We try to ask the authorities, no response coming in. That is also a serious matter that we are looking at. We will probably get that response, and once we get that response, we will ensure that we will give it to our viewers as well. And before, in fact, we try to understand all the problems that are associated with this airport, or maybe the airports across the country as well. Trying to improve the lives of the people is an aspect of our coverage as well. And it might be a small thing that people might say that 45 minutes delay, but it is something that affects lakhs and maybe crores of passengers who pass through these airports. Now, Jitendra Bhargava, who is still with us, we've tried to, in fact, speak to the authorities, but it doesn't seem to be that there is some kind of a two-way communication. We are still waiting. We are hoping to get some kind of response on that email as well, a written response from them. Once we get that, of course, we will highlight it. But the fact remains is that probably this is what a lot of passengers also face. They don't get answers. There seems to be no one accountable to give this answers. That is another problem, because if there is a problem, whom do you approach? Who is supposed to give you that answers? That is also a big question over here when it comes to Kolkata airport as well. How do you see this?
Not holding any brief for the airport authority. The letter needs to be addressed to the airlines. Or if you are seeking information from the airport authority, get the statistics out of them. Number of total baggages handled in a particular week, how many baggages were delivered in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then make up a case. A generic letter to say that tell us why the things are being delayed, because the airport authority can turn back and say, look, airline has the data. We are only compiling the data furnished by the airlines. Now, why are the baggages being delayed? It's for the airline to answer, or the outsource agency, which maybe airline may be using it in Calcutta airport. So airport authority is basically a coordinating company, a facilitator, but not directly involved with baggage delivery. It's the airline you must address yourself. I would strongly say that if people are really genuinely concerned, because when we say a large number of baggage, people have complained because they got the bag in 45 minutes, it may be a minuscule 1%, 2%. And what they need to do, there is a civil aviation portal, which one can go there directly and get the attention of the Ministry of Civil Aviation and get a response to it. It is this kind of an action that needs to be done by the media to let the public, traveling public, know that you have an Air Seva portal, very well managed by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, where you get your responses to all problems connected with the civil aviation industry.
So this is one way to, in fact, go ahead and try to get a response on this. Let me, in fact, go to Captain SS Panesar as well, who is the ex-director Flight and Safety for Indian Airlines. Panesar sir, you heard that there are options to do it, but then you get stonewalled at times from these authorities as well. And it looks like, after speaking to all of you all and trying to understand this, that the airlines has a huge role when it comes to the baggage coming onto the conveyor belt on time, and then to you, the passenger also. So I think a lot of passengers would have understand this flow as such. But then, do you think, as a person who has been looking into it, that when it comes to the infrastructure, one of them pointed out, our aviation expert pointed out, that it's a coordination problem. The airport authorities are a coordination agency, is what we have Bhargava, in fact, telling us. So do you think it is a coordination problem? Is it an infrastructure problem? Is it something, or probably just a culture problem also, as it's been pointed out? Is it just a culture problem? What is the actual issue that we'll have to pinpoint? Because we know there is a symptom. Probably we are only looking at the symptom of the delay of the baggage. But then what could be this problems? And I understand, after speaking to experts like you all, I understand there are these three fine points that we have to look into. Do you think that it could be a coordination problem, it could be a cultural problem, or it could be, as they were saying, issue about the airlines actually delaying it because they don't want to spend a lot on being at the remote bay? It would be better for them to be at the remote bay than to be at the aerobridge. Is that the case?
Sir, I agree with you. The major problem is with the airline to take care of the baggage, how fast they can deliver the baggage to the belt. And the second problem is the infrastructure by the airport authority, how they maintain the system and how the baggages arrive, whether the belts are working properly, are there proper trolleys for the passengers also. There are two agencies. Main problem lies only with the airline to monitor where the baggage is offloaded from the aircraft, how it comes here, and they should have their own staff to monitor any grievance of any passenger. They are lady passengers with children. Don't expect them to write complaints to airport authority or the airline. Airline officer should note down the problem and take it himself and try to improve the system.
So you're saying there should be a dynamic feedback system. You're talking about a dynamic feedback system then? where, you know, people are
Yes.
able to easily approach, the problem gets fixed, and if there's something happens, it's there. You're saying about a dynamic approach.
Yes, there is. They can have dynamic approach to all the system. We have staff, enough people are there. You employ more people. You can fulfill the image of our Prime Minister also that we give jobs to people. Why don't they employ the right type of people for the right time?
Right. Well,
So
thank
we
you.
will fulfill the image. They can improve the system. It's
Right.
not difficult.
Right.
You watch the international airport. There are 2-3 terminals. You go to Singapore. There are 2 terminals. You have to go from one terminal to other. You have to change your flight from international to domestic, domestic to international. You have to run with the baggage. You might even miss the flight. Then who's going to be responsible? Airline or the airport authority? Airport authority, yes, for the infrastructure. Do they have proper infrastructure? Airline to monitor.
Right.
That's all the baggage movement is very important.
Right, Captain Pane, sir. Thank you for, in fact, joining us. Thank you, Bhargav, for also speaking to us, and also Vipul for joining us and giving us those insights. With that, it's a wrap on this special discussion. Well, hope it is there some kind of a benefit coming out on understanding why the delay could happen, and hope the Kolkata Airport authorities also ensure that the delay, as pointed out by most of the passengers, is taken care of. With that, it's a wrap on this special edition. Stay tuned to News 9 for further news and updates.